is the blue tsunami means that Congress is going to haul Elon Musk, big balls, and a bunch of other people's ass in front and say, what crimes did you commit? And it's going to get really serious. And the same with Trump, because I believe, and this is just my opinion, that Trump and all of the bottom-feeding morons surrounding him and Elon Musk and all the bottom-feeding Klingeroners that surround him, I think they commit crimes every day. And I think to reconcile all of this is going to take hardcore, not integrity Democrats. F you Democrats, f you for over our country. We are serious about this. We are prosecuting. We're going to uncover every document, every phone call, everything you did. We will be relentless about it. And that's the mindset they've got to have, because I think the electorate is going from, we've got to get him out, but also we want accountability.
There has to be accountability. You have to have a situation where there's accountability. And I talked about this the other day with Fanone, the former MPD police officer who almost got killed on January 6th. You know, he said, and I think it's true, that it's more than just the Dems win back the Congress and the White House. We have to change this John Roberts Supreme Court decision that gave the President of the United States a blank check. No man or woman should be above the law in this country. And Donald Trump sure as should not be above the law in this country. And I think the Democrats have to talk about it in these terms, that, listen, if we get back in there, and I'm not saying I'm part of the Democratic Party, but I'm saying that this is the way the Democrats should communicate. They should say when they're back in there, if you guys are going to cling to this idea that Donald Trump is unaccountable, it's just not going to work. And that means adding seats to the Supreme Court so that immunity decision can be overturned. And so Donald Trump can be held accountable for his crime.
Well, there it is. Jennifer Welch and Jim Acosta have let the cat out of the bag. That is the Democrats' grand plan once they inevitably regain power. It might not be in 2026, but the pendulum always swings the other way. You would think that the Democrats would, actually be focused on the American people, be focused on cost of living, jobs, AI. There are so many issues that face the country today, but instead, no, all they want to do is keep focusing on Trump, even when Trump is out of power. Now, I know there are going to be a lot of people out there who say, well, Daniel, that's just a podcast. It's just Jennifer Welch. It's just Jim Acosta. They don't actually have a say in the Democrat Party. But I would say, no, you're wrong, because the Democrats, for all these years, they've been talking about how they want a Joe Rogan of their own, right? The Democrats, they've been flailing when it comes to social media. They've been really upset that they're losing their grip on the traditional mainstream media. And so Jennifer Welch, well, she's been the Democrats' answer to that. Her podcast, for some reason, has been lightning in a bottle for the left. So they are going to listen to her voice because she has the audience. And similar to how they listened to MS Now and CNN, they're going to listen to Jennifer Welch. And she is now really plugged into DC. So I guarantee these aren't just her ideas, but these are things that she's actually hearing from people. And Jim Acosta, clearly, I mean, when he used the word we all know that was a Freudian slip. He views himself as part of the Democrat Party. Just like anyone else on CNN, they are just an arm of that entire machine. Like I said, it would be one thing if this were just a podcast, but we're actually hearing this. If you listen carefully, we're actually hearing this from elected Democrat officials, which is how I know this isn't just a pipe dream. This isn't just some, locker room talk on a podcast. This is actually their plan. And unfortunately, it's not just President Trump. Listen to what Hakeem Jeffries said on MS Now.
One, problem number two, of course, is the fact that there are so many different corrupt sycophants within the Trump administration, including but not limited to within the Department of Justice. Now, these people don't have immunity. And the reality is the statute of limitations is 5 years, and there will be accountability with the next administration, if not before, when Democrats take back control of the House of Representatives.
That really mirrors what Jennifer Welch and Jim Acosta were talking about, how they really want to go after everyone in the Trump administration. What was really telling about the Jennifer clip was how she brought up Elon Musk, big balls. I mean, it's been pretty well documented that DOGE does not exist like it did in the past, right? And Elon Musk obviously is not in Washington, D.C. right now. He will be returning to the campaign trail to help out Republicans for the 2026 midterms, but it's not like he's an integral, everyday part of the Trump administration. It's been months since he's been in D.C., sleeping in offices, trying to root out fraud, waste, and abuse, and still Jennifer is accusing him of some sort of corruption and accusing him of sabotaging the American government. She wants to go after him him for what he did months ago. And all he was trying to do was try to save the American taxpayer some money. But while it's not shocking that Democrats are obsessed with revenge on President Trump, after all, there is no known cure for TDS, with the exception of the truth and unplugging from the mainstream media matrix. What is shocking is the breadth and depth of their obsession. They don't want to just stop with President Trump or Elon Musk or other members of the administration like the Justice Department. They actually want to go through individual members, like lower down, the everyday person, such as ICE agents. So out in California, they're in the middle of their governor's race, and they held a debate. Eric Swalwell is running, and he announced what he would do to enact retribution on the individual ICE agents.
They're going to lose their immunity. They're not going to be able to drive. I will take your driver's license. Good luck walking to work, assholes. Also, I will direct law enforcement to use every power to prosecute them for battery, false imprisonment, and murder. You know me. I'm not shy. Over the last 10 years, I worked on the Russia investigation with Adam Schiff. I helped lead the second impeachment as a manager. I've got the only lawsuit that has survived this new presidency. It's me and the January 6 officers. I'm not naive about who he is. There's only one side of the ball to be on behalf of Californians when it comes to ICE, and it's offense.
They're not even hiding it. And again, for the party that claims that they are progressive, they don't really want to move towards the future. They want to stay focused on the present. They want to focus on prosecuting the past. It's because they don't have any vision for the future. And it makes sense because the Democrat Party, well, they're fractured, they're fragile. Just think about it. They have the pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas camp. They're oh so sad that there's now peace in Gaza. And for whatever reason, the people screaming free Palestine and free Gaza, well, they're nowhere to be found when it comes to what's happening in Iran. Then you have the LGBTQ, the gender confused camp. You have those who are pro-illegal immigration. There are so many different factions that in the wild, in nature, in real life, they want nothing to do with each other. And so the Democrats, the one thing they have to unite all these groups is their hatred of President Trump. They can't unite these groups based on love of country, love for God, love for the Constitution, love for freedom, capitalism, the free markets. There is nothing that brings these groups together with the exception of President Trump, Orange Man bad, and we must go after him. And by the way, I didn't mention it earlier, but to go back to that very first clip with Jennifer and Jim, they were talking about openly packing the Supreme Court. So clearly the Democrats haven't forgotten or let go of that idea. They're just staying hush-hush about it because they know it's unpopular with the American people. But once they inevitably, again, get back into power, they're going to pull all the levers they can to make sure that they never lose it. It's really ironic, really hypocritical, because everything they accuse President Trump, everything they accuse this administration of doing, they plan on doing it. They're openly talking about doing it. Think about it. They call him a dictator, yet what was one time President Trump has disobeyed the judiciary? Think about it. They've sued the administration whenever there is some debate over an interpretation of the law. They sue the administration. It goes all the way up to the Supreme Court. The courts, even if it's not a legitimate judge, right? There's been a lot of criticisms about the Obama-appointed judges. Even when it's an Obama-appointed judge ruling against the Trump administration, the administration obeys the order. They comply. Even if they don't like the judge, even if they believe that it was a political decision, that's because they respect the framework of our government. We don't see that coming from the Democrats. Instead, they want to change the rules so that they stay in power, so that they get their way, because they are sore losers. And in fact, in doing all of this, the Democrats are actually on treacherous, icy ground. Yeah, they may be violating the Constitution, violating the law. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club. RL1401, thank you. That was very generous of you, Bob. Jeremy 2001 Happy ×2, and Jenda Monuro. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I appreciate all of you, and I'm glad that you're here. While out in Virginia, guess what? Abigail Spanberger's first act as governor was to sign an executive order that would basically remove the requirement for state troopers, state police, to cooperate with ICE. Don't forget, we have a federalist system. Don't forget that federal law, when it comes to the border, when it comes to immigration and citizenship, supersedes the states. Take a look.
And this executive order rescinds executive order number 47. State and local law enforcement should not be required to divert their limited resources to enforce federal civil immigration laws. It is a responsibility of federal law enforcement. Virginia state and local law enforcement officers must be able to focus on their core responsibilities, investigating crime and community policing.
And any other time that might make sense. You could maybe forgive the logic, but you also have to take, when they enact these EOs, the context of today into account. And you take a look at what's happening in Minnesota. The reason they need the support of local officials and state police is because the Democrat Party, while they've been framing ICE as the Gestapo, they've been framing them as Nazis. They've been encouraging their voting base to go out there, harass them, record them, get in their faces, stop deportations. If you are fueling this sort of hatred and resistance, no wonder they need that sort of support. And, a normal time, if they were just allowed to do their jobs, sure, maybe that would make sense. They wouldn't need support, and local and state officials could enforce, local and state laws. But the Democrats are actively feeding into this violence, so that just makes no sense right there. The last thing that makes sense is actually what Chuck Schumer said. So we talked some about Elon Musk, we talked some about DOGE, and obviously they were trying to reduce federal bloat, reduce that fraud, waste, and abuse. Well, the Democrats are openly plotting to not only restore what DOGE cut, but to actually increase those budgets and codify it, make it really difficult to remove this in the future.
Restore most of the cuts and even go higher than previous years on many of the programs that DOGE slashed. When I met our nominee for HUD secretary, then he was nominee, he talked a nice game, but he doesn't seem to have the clout to make those views prevail over the DOGE people, over the cut people. But we have worked really hard in the budget and gotten bipartisan support to increase these amounts and undo a lot of the cuts, which are essential.
So after watching all of those clips, it's clear it's not just a one-off. It's clear it's not just one random Democrat saying this. It's a pattern. It's a theme. It is the through line that is uniting the Democrat Party at the moment. All they can focus on is taking revenge, taking down President Trump. They don't have a solution for America. They don't care about what's affecting our lives, what's going to affect our futures and our children's future. Instead, they just want revenge, which is really ironic because they said Trump was about revenge. They accused him of having thin skin. But when you take a look at the actions of the Democrat Party, it's them who are flaking. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. This is what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So in this video, who gets the Mental Delulu Award? Which Democrat was just the most insane? Is it Jennifer Welch, Jim Acosta, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, Abigail Spanberger, Eric Swalwell? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Mental Delulu, by the way, obviously not a good thing. So who was the craziest Democrat? Which was the craziest clip? Vote down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it truly does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.